Imagine a book, nearly 2,000 pages long, that claims to be a divine revelation from archangels, life carriers, and other celestial entities. This text, titled the Urantia Book, purports to correct the Holy Bible, detail the expansive history of our planet, and even describe the very substance of the bodies we will inhabit after death, a material known as Urantia. It appeared mysteriously in Chicago between 1924 and 1955, with half the book allegedly materializing on its very own. But here is the central, mind-bending twist. Was this text a genuine communication from extraterrestrial entities? Or was it the decades-long, elaborate project of a respected physician, his wife, and a single, anonymous businessman? This is the Urantia Book. Holy text? Or one of the most elaborate metaphysical hoaxes in American history? Stay with me. This story doesn't just challenge belief, it challenges reality itself. The authenticity of any religious text is often convoluted, and the Urantia Book requires the same degree of faith as other religions due to its abstract nature. While the book itself claims to be a reference document rather than a religious text, its structure and spiritual focus continually tie it to God and spirituality. The history begins in Chicago with Dr. William S. Sadler and his wife, Lena Sadler, both highly respected physicians. By 1930, William Sadler had established a reputation as both a medical and paranormal figure, often debunking various forms of mysticism and psychic phenomena through the lens of psychiatry. He had even published works aimed at debunking spirit contact cases. Around 1911, the Sadlers were approached by a neighbor concerned about her husband. She reported finding him in a deep sleep, breathing abnormally, and being unable to wake him. Over time, the Sadlers observed these episodes, during which the individual began producing verbal communications claimed to be from an entity associated with other spiritual beings. The anonymous man, known only as the sleeping subject, was described as a hard-bored businessman and a member of the Board of Trade and Stock Exchange. His choice to remain anonymous makes the origins of the text more dubious than profound. By early 1925, these communications transformed into a voluminous handwritten document, which became the regular method of purported communication with the spiritual entity. This difficult and enduring venture took several decades to complete, with the text finally being published by the Urantia Foundation in 1955. The text claims to be a revelatory document authored exclusively by celestial beings rather than humans. The authors are identified by their celestial titles, or, less frequently, their full names. These authors include archangels and the chief of the archangels, life carriers and divine counselors, midwayers and seraphim, and figures such as Salonia, who is most commonly known as the voice in the Garden of Eden. The content of the Urantia Book is wildly unconventional and often difficult to reconcile with established religious or scientific knowledge. It covers topics ranging from the nature of the universe and the history of our planet to the hierarchy of celestial beings. Intriguingly, the text discusses genetic evolution during a time when Gregor Mendel's theories were only popular in niche scientific communities. Its concepts of alien life were presented decades before alien popularity became mainstream, around the 1947 Roswell incident, bolstering its credibility for some due to its originality. However, the book's teachings often conflict with traditional religious texts, particularly the Bible. For instance, the book suggests Jesus lived a mortal, fallible life to understand his creation, and proposedly came to Earth to reveal a new understanding of God, submitting to his thought adjuster. This diverges sharply from the traditional Christian view of Jesus redeeming humanity through sacrifice. In fact, the Urantia Book indicates that several miracles in the New Testament Bible were embellished. Furthermore, the events described lack historical or archaeological evidence. The cosmic events and detailed descriptions of other worlds cannot be verified through records or scientific observation. For example, the text mentions a fandor bird, purportedly large enough to transport Adam and Eve, which supposedly went extinct due to poaching, a bird for which there is zero corroborating evidence. Many critics and scholars label the book as a work of fiction or imaginative speculation rather than divine revelation. One of the most significant points of contention lies in the murky origins of the writing style. The style has been compared to automatic writing, a technique where content is produced without conscious thought, often claimed to be dictated by spiritual entities. This mechanical and sometimes stilted prose, combined with the sudden appearance of the second half of the text in the 1930s, further casts doubt on divine authorship. More substantially, Matthew Block has provided compelling citations suggesting paraphrasing and outright plagiarism in the Urantia Book. As of 1997, Mr. Block indicated he found 75 human works of interest that were possibly used in roughly 100 of the original papers. The text's content strongly suggests human influence, rooted in the early 20th century metaphysical community. The Theosophical Society was in its heyday during the time of the writing, blending Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, and Egyptian beliefs. The sleeping subject's use of Hindu terms shows an interest in Theosophical Society teachings. His continual use of the phrase, "the Father," demonstrates a strong patriarchal Christian background. The book is seen by some as a plagiarized mix of New Age thought of the early 1900s, created during a time when concepts like psychic mediumship and alien contact, driven by authors like H.G. Wells, were circulating widely in the collective consciousness. This leads to the ultimate philosophical debate. The book claims knowledge of other planets is absolute and free to anyone who seeks it. So, did the book borrow language from human works because its entities were not bound by our copyright laws? Or was humanity previously divinely inspired to construct these similar concepts, making this a classic chicken or the egg scenario? Though the text avoids calling itself a religion, the organization established to disseminate it is scrutinized for following the structure and business model of a modern religious organization. The Urantia Foundation is organized as a non-profit organization and listed as a charity, with the primary goal of promoting the book's teachings. However, the structure of the foundation is characterized as absolutely the structure of a modern religion. Every religion that passes the plate to cover expenses, staff, utilities, operates under a business model. The foundation reportedly takes in close to $3 million a year through book sales and donations. Critics point to the foundation's financial operations as evidence of this business alignment. 1. Donation focus. The foundation heavily focuses on securing future donations, especially through estate planning, to ensure funds continue after donors pass away. 2. Lack of community outreach. The organization has no documented community outreach or loving, caring missions to help people online. 3. Incest charity. The only documented charity work is geared toward people who are already students of the Urantia Book, offering them the opportunity to apply for grants. This supports the primary goal of increasing reach among believers and spreading the word of the foundation. When analyzing the foundation against the definition of a religion, a set of beliefs concerning the purpose of the universe, often involving a moral code, it certainly fits. It is deemed a classic new religion being started, built around teaching a text deemed of extreme importance. Regarding the label of a cult, defined as a system of religious worship or a sect considered unorthodox, the Foundation is not seen as fitting that definition, primarily because it does not appear to require specific rites or ceremonies. When we evaluate the Urantia Book, we must accept that there are a plethora of holes associated with its legitimacy, much like those associated with any other major religious text. As a professor once said, all great stories need at least some embellishment. The strongest argument against the book's divine origin lies not in its scientific concepts, which are likely going to change in a century from now, but in the possible instances of accused plagiarism. Yet, despite the contradictions and convoluted ideology, the book itself claims to support most of the world's religions, indicating they are valid paths to God. It holds an intrinsic value, much like the overall theme provided by the Bible, a necessary understanding of God and worth reading. Whether you accept the text as divine revelation or as a fascinating mix of early 20th century metaphysics and plagiarism, the ultimate test of its validity should be its results. Does the book's teaching make you more loving, more accepting, and more caring? If it does, then perhaps you have found your path. But for others, the text remains too convoluted, too complex, and too deeply rooted in Christian and theosophical concepts from an anonymous source to be considered genuinely revolutionary. The story of the Urantia Book is a reminder that when we examine any foundational text, whether newly materialized or ancient, we must ask challenging questions, much like a lawyer cross-examining a scientific test. Who influenced the authors? Where was the key kept? In the end, we are left to decide if this voluminous work is the product of celestial inspiration or simply a remarkable literary achievement born from the collective consciousness of the 1920s. Maybe you didn't find this video. Maybe, just maybe, it found you. Because every generation faces a text that claims to reveal what came before humanity and what may come after. The real question is not, was it written by angels? But, what does it awaken in you? If you've journeyed with me this far, drop a comment. Divine or derived? Which side are you on? And if you want more deep dives into hidden teachings, forbidden books, and ancient codes of the universe, you know what to do. Subscribe, stay curious, stay awake, and step into your inner temple.